9:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the Gang of Four Amigos. Brought to you by My Patriot Supply. PrepareWithMandis.com. I'm Mandis. That's Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Johnny's here. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning.
And Ken's over yonder. Hey, Ken.
Good morning, boys. Yeah.
Guys, miracles do happen. Chris Hand survived Detroit.
All right.
That's where he was. And didn't I tell you to bring a bulletproof vest?
You did.
Yeah.
You walk around Detroit for a little while and you think that you might need some My Patriot Supply.
That's exactly right. The whole thing looks like it looks like an abandoned city. It looks like some sort of a small contained nuclear explosion would actually be a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just kidding. I would never say that about once great American city.
Have you ever seen the side-by-side where it's Detroit in present day versus Nagasaki in present day? And it says, a nuclear explosion is easier to come back from than Democrat rule.
Listen, it's true.
Yeah,
it is true. And you were there.
So I was there for the Turning Point Action People's Convention. So I was there all weekend long for the Trump rally, saw Bannon, saw Vivek, saw J.D. Vance, Byron Donalds.
Okay.
Shook some hands,
Tim
kissed some
Scott
babies.
had to be there because he's like all in the news today for being a leading contender for VP.
I don't know if Tim Scott was there.
Okay.
But I was running around, so I could have missed him. There was a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot. But in the straw poll at People's Convention, the winner for VP was J.D. Vance.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like he's almost like a come lately, Johnny come lately.
You think so?
I do. Because people have been talking about Byron Donalds for a long time. Tim Scott, literally when Tim Scott announced, I said he's going to make a great VP. And
JD's been one of my favorites for VP once I got over the Tucker fantasies. Once I got over that, it was J.D. Vance and Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
All right, very good. And you said you had a funny story.
So I'm sitting in catering, and so the way this works, it's like, it's all convention, like hotel convention rooms, right?
Yep.
We're at the Huntington Place, former Cobo Center, huge convention center. And there's the plastic divider walls that they put up to separate the rooms. Yeah, the partitions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So on one side,
Charlie. Not often I could tell somebody a word.
So on one side, Charlie Kirk is doing his live show. So he's got an audience in there. He's doing interviews. And then on the other side is catering. So I'm sitting there eating lasagna. With a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
And Kalen Delmita, who's a reporter for Frontlines, he goes, some lady that looks like Kimberly Guilfoyle just asked me where the bathroom was.
Oh, wow.
And I said, what do you mean? Did she look like Kimberly Guilfoyle? And everybody's like, did it cross your mind that it could have been? He goes, well, I asked those kids over there and they didn't answer me. And we look at the table behind us, and it's Don Trump Jr.'s kids sitting at a table.
Oh my gosh.
So then we're like, Kalen, Kimberly Guilfoyle asked you where the bathroom was. Not 3 minutes later, Don Trump Jr. walks out. I shook his hand. Great handshake, by the way. I didn't we didn't have a good conversation, but he had a good handshake, and I base a lot of my judgment off of that on a person.
Okay.
If you have a limpy handshake,
Yeah.
So,
but then you can do it too strong though.
Yeah.
Okay, if your handshake is too strong, then
it was Goldilocks. It was just right. It was
Okay.
just right. I promise.
All right, good.
So then Don Trump Jr. walks in. We're like, see, it was Kimberly Guilfoyle. And then I kid you not, 30 seconds later, another friend of ours walks in. And she goes, guys, Kimberly Guilfoyle just heard me pee in the bathroom.
How does Kimberly Guilfoyle look in person?
I didn't see her. I missed that whole interaction.
Okay. What, Ken? Why are you laughing?
What she look like in person?
That's a lot of work.
You wondering if it's like the Seinfeld episode where the lighting needs to be right? Is that what you're?
Whatever. Moving right along. You probably should have said that.
They're real.
And they're fabulous.
Spectacular.
Yeah, what the line was. That was very funny. Moving right along.
Get me out of this.
Yep. All right. So you have not been on the air.
I've not.
Since, look at everything that Chris has missed that we've talked about today. So can we talk about the weird forehead to forehead thing with Joe
gosh.
Biden and the Pope?
Did he think it was a scoop of vanilla ice cream or what?
Man, he went in. Have you ever done that to another man?
No. Well, maybe my grandfather back in the day, but
I never even did that to my children, let alone my parents or grandfather or whatever.
Well, you go in for like a hug with your grandpa and you touch the forehead, love you, and then you move on.
Nope. Never did it.
No, I could give him a pass there, but it's the Pope.
It's the Pope.
Did you see Javier Milei's look of disgust from over the Pope's shoulder when that happened?
No, I didn't.
That is...
All right, I got to look at an image of that.
That's the best. That's the best thing that happened in all of that, which is it's being under discussed, was Javier Milei is over the Pope's shoulder, and he kind of just gives a look of like, ugh. What are you?
Dude, I'm. Did you find it, Ken?
I'm looking for it, man. I just like Chris's description.
I'm not going to be able to find it for you unless you know where it is, Chris.
Here's a headline: Biden's forehead embrace of Pope Francis. Nothing new.
Nothing.
That doesn't mean that it makes it right.
Let's see here.
Come on, man.
Nothing new.
Come on, give me the still image, man. Give me the still image.
All right, I'm sending it to you via direct message.
You're sending it to me too?
Yeah.
But that was so bizarre.
Okay.
There's a close-up of the actual forehead touching.
I'm retweeting it. If you guys haven't seen the Javier Milei look of disgust, at Chris Hand on Air, you can go find it.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Javier Milei is like, what? He's giving it like the big old side eye. And he doesn't understand why Joe Biden is doing this. Does the Pope not have like personal space? Is that what Joe Biden thinks? But he kind of does this with everybody.
Yeah.
He just
it's comforting.
Right up in there.
It's comforting that it wasn't a young female this time.
Equal opportunity offender.
Well, it was an 81-year-old to an 87-year-old.
It still doesn't make it right. It still doesn't make it right.
Here's a headline: Heads up, Your Holiness.
Wow. That's funny. So you had that.
Yeah.
And then you had, I'm sure you saw on Saturday night, while Trump was with the peeps in Detroit, the preacher called it the hood. So the preacher called it the hood.
Yep. At the pastor's round table.
Yes. Joe Biden was with Jack Black and George Clooney and all of those Hollywood elites out there. And we've been talking about it off and on this morning, where he had to be taken off the stage. Joe Biden. So I tweeted it out. You probably tweeted it out too. Obama comes up and he grabs Biden by the wrist.
I know.
And because Biden, it was like
you would with a toddler.
Yeah. It was like cement hands. And so Biden's got cement hands, and he's got the hands down to his thighs. And
this is after Biden wandered away at the G7, and they went on the damage control, calling that disinformation.
Yeah, they did. I noticed that this weekend.
And you could see him like awkwardly lift his sunglasses like he couldn't remember how to hold them or put them on his face. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that was disinfo. He wasn't lost. He wasn't confused. All the reporting from England is that, no, he was lost and confused the entire G7.
There happened to be a parachutist right there. And Biden was giving the parachutist or somebody thumbs up, but the parachutist wasn't even looking at Biden.
Yep.
He was putting his parachute in the pack.
Yep.
So the whole thing is just weird, and that, of course, is after Poopgate.
Yes, I know. But I love how they cover that as that was disinformation, and then literally 2 days later, the exact same thing happens again.
Yeah. I'm telling you, every time they go out, Biden has a problem at this point.
And the Democrats should know better. Obama should know better. If you want to make that look better, you lift Biden's arm up like you're crowning a champion.
Yeah.
And then you guide him off.
Yeah, you don't grasp his wrist and then yank.
Well, and the best part, too, was when Obama is walking off the stage with Biden, he's patting him on the back, like literally guiding him across the stage.
It's like a sheep herder.
Like a sheep herder. That's exactly right, like a sheep herder.
And did you see Biden's face at that event? Everybody's claiming on the internet that it wasn't Biden, he was in a mask. But then that's what they're saying, because he was looking extra puffy. But then you look at him get lost, and you're like, no, that's Biden.
Yeah, that's our
him.
boy.
That's
all
our
the
guy.
earmarks of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, Milei's face is pretty funny there, where Biden's forehead kissing the Pope.
It's like, what in the world is he doing?
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and the Pope's look too, man. The Pope's surprised too.
Yeah, the Pope does look a little surprised. And they said that this isn't Biden's first forehead butt. Is that like a headbutt? Is that what you call it? A forehead butt?
Yeah.
Like, is that what you call it? So he does these kinds of things all the time, I guess. But again, that's why my initial moniker for Joe Biden was Creepy Joe.
It looked like he was going to go in for the Eskimo kisses.
Yeah.
You know, when you rub the noses.
Yeah.
Boy, that'd have been something. Oh, man. That would have been great.
Biden Eskimo kisses the Pope. Oh, can you imagine? See, I personally would find that funny.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a good time in Detroit.
Had a blast. We're gonna recap it all as we get into the show. There's a big truck rolling around Detroit, like one of the billboard trucks that says MAGA is not welcome in Detroit. I'll tell you what, man, we felt welcomed.
Did you?
Yeah.
Were you wearing your Free Trump T-shirt and all that?
No, I was in my business cash, but everybody else was rocking MAGA hats.
Okay.
And then the locals started rocking MAGA hats. I was on the elevator at one point, and this guy, 6'5", fully tattooed, dreadlocks down to his waist, comes in wearing a MAGA hat, and then he gets off the elevator. I looked at my buddy Joe Bob, and I said, that's the Democrats' worst nightmare.
Absolutely.
It's their worst nightmare. Mm-hmm. By the end of the weekend, the entire city was wearing MAGA hats. And,
really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's cool to see a group of conservatives converge on a place where all you hear is the bad press, but you never actually meet these people. Like at the convention center, all the employees towards the end of the weekend were like, you guys have been the best. You guys have been the best group that we've ever had here. Great people. Like we're so impressed with you guys.
Really?
So you're winning people over by being just regular humans.
Not being a nut job, DEI kind of person.
Or a caricature of the party that CNN and MSNBC makes us out to be.
Yeah, or a caricature. Oh, absolutely. You just come in and you're normal. CNN, they'll be like, oh, here come the threat to democracy people, you know? And no, you come in. You're well behaved, and you come in, you know what you do, you win people over. And you win people over by, as you said, just acting normal and being nice. Yeah. And that's not all that hard.
No, and we won a lot of people over, I guarantee it. And then throughout the event, there's like 3,000, 4,000 people there, and they're all going out and they're eating at restaurants and doing this and that. And everybody, I saw so many of my friends leaving like $500 tips on bills. Saying vote Trump, no tax on tips.
Yep, that's a big thing. That was in the news today. Actually, I had a busy day, but I had a story on that today. Now, we talked about it, I think, was it on Thursday or Friday? We talked about that,
Thursday.
And now it's making its way into the media. So, yeah, people are doing that, and there's a reason why they're doing that, because that is, my opinion, a winning issue for Trump. If he wants to go down that road, obviously we all understand that he can't do that by himself. It needs congressional approval and all of those things, but that's why you also have to vote, down ticket for Republicans in the House and the Senate and so forth.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to play this for you real quick. This is Joe Biden, and I played this earlier today. This is Joe Biden. He's talking to somebody out on the campaign trail.
I'm the dullest president in America. I'm known for my Ray-Ban sunglasses and the chocolate chip ice cream.
Yeah, that's what that's what he's saying on the campaign trail. I'm known for my Ray-Ban sunglasses and my chocolate chip ice cream.
See,
that'll create more jobs.
But I think he's known for crashing bikes and economies.
I do too. Opening borders, crashing economies, crashing bikes, and all the other things that goes with that.
Skyrocketing interest rates, those sort of things.
Shaking hands with ghosts.
That's exactly right. Having to be, led off stage by Barack Obama, all of that stuff. So for Biden,
I'm the dullest president in America. I'm known for my Ray-Ban sunglasses and the chocolate chip ice cream.
It's funny when
pooping in his pants.
Pooping in his pants. Poopgate. Listen, Poopgate's real. I'm just telling you.
I'm telling you, it is.
Hey, did anybody watch that 80s Brat Pack documentary that I talked about earlier?
I wanted to wait until you gave it your seal of approval.
Johnny, did you watch it? The Brat Pack documentary with Andrew McCarthy?
I did not.
Ken, did you watch it?
Watched it.
Attaboy, Ken. At least one of us is here.
Yeah.
Ken, what did you think?
I had no idea. I didn't even know that article even existed. I had no idea that those actors and actresses felt that bad after that article.
I think that whole thing was a reason to get back on TV.
Think so?
Well, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, so the premise of the whole thing is this article comes out in a magazine or whatever it was, and they coined the phrase the Brat Pack. And they took it really hard because it was pointing out that they were behaving badly, I guess. And so, to me, they used that as, well, that's why our careers tanked and we stopped being in movies and so forth, and we never got over it. I thought that was, they should have embraced it.
I think Andrew McCarthy's career might have slowed down, but certainly not Rob Lowe or Molly Ringwald's
Judd Nelson
career.
is
Judd
doing
Nelson's
pretty well.
career went. Now Judd Nelson didn't want to speak on it.
No.
Molly Ringwald didn't want to speak on it. So I don't know. I found it interesting because it's from that era when I was a teenager. I didn't watch news, period.
Right.
And I had no idea that these actors and actresses had this awful feeling after that interview. I just thought, well, okay, some of them went on and did great things, like Demi Moore. Demi Moore's career took off after it.
That's exactly right. So
I don't know.
I think the BS meter on that, at least for me, regarding Andrew McCarthy, I was a little high. The BS meter was a little high. I still enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. Would you recommend it, Ken? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Yeah, sure. If you're a child of the 80s, sure.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, it'll take you right back to how things were a lot better being a teenager then than they are now.
That's exactly